Hello, welcome to the first year BHM course of Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata. I'm Dr. Indrajit Bose and I shall be your course coordinator for this session. You must be wondering what this course is all about and what are the topics we shall be covering in the course of our lectures. Well, in business communication, which is the subject that I'm taking up over here, with the subject code BHM N102, we shall be discussing the various types of communication in the workplace, or since you will be joining the hospital and healthcare sector, we shall be discussing the various modes of written and spoken communication and the protocols for the same in the workplace. Now, there are different kinds of written communication, which I have already been discussing with you in the course of these lectures. This is lecture 8 in the series, and in this, I shall be talking about essay writing. Now, of course, all of you have written essays before in school, so you are somewhat familiar with the type of writing this involves. You are all aware of how to write an essay, but I shall be refreshing your minds regarding that, and we shall be discussing it in details in this lecture. So in the course of this lecture, we shall be looking at what is involved exactly in writing an essay for academic needs. We shall look at the types of essays, how to make a beginning or structuring the essay, the sense of development, and the ending of the essay. Now, obviously, I think all of you need to keep in mind basically that an essay is necessarily an academic piece of writing. Now, we tend to talk about English as business English or English for academic purposes. Well, the course that you have is entitled Business Communication. And as I said just now, in this course, you deal with various kinds of writing in the workplace context. There is a bit of difference between academic context and the workplace context because an essay, for example, is necessarily not a part of the workplace context. It has its place rather in the academic context. You might be required to write an essay in your school curriculum or in your college by your tutor or your course instructor. But anyway, since you are college students now, the mode of writing an essay is a necessary requirement for you to know because it is a longish piece of writing for you to practice, and often you get assignments which have to be submitted in the form of essays. So learning to write an essay is going to be a useful and practical thing for you. Now, I think one can start at the beginning by drawing a kind of differentiation between different types of writing. The writing of a paragraph or a précis and a substance, and the writing of an essay. These are all very different from one another. Paragraph writing involves writing about a certain topic within a certain specified length, maybe 100 words or 200 words. The length is demarcated clearly, and what you write is a short paragraph. Précis and substance are both exercises in condensation, unlike the writing of a paragraph. So there is no question of elaborating anything. The original that you have in the précis or in the substance, you basically cut it short or curtail the size by editing it. So it is an exercise in editing and compression. However, the writing of an essay is different from all these because you are not editing anything as such, you are elaborating. So it is rather a form of an extended discussion on a certain topic, or you can say that it is a development of that topic. So it's like the writing of a paragraph, but of course, the length is definitely much more than that of a paragraph. So it's an exercise in elaboration on a chosen topic. Also, of course, it is a structured whole. Just like a paragraph is a complete thing in its entirety, so is the essay, though it might be considerably longer than that of a paragraph. It might even be 500 words or 600 words, or it might be written or divided into paragraphs. But of course, it is a structured whole, and it is studied with logical arguments which develop certain points. So it is something logical and it is well argued. And there can also be counter arguments worked in with examples. So there are relevant examples to illustrate all the points that are made. So an essay is very much a systematic and logical sequence of ideas and thoughts. And it tends to be a structured whole, and there is a definite conclusion that is drawn at the end. So it is a structured piece of writing, and it is a writing which is an elaboration on a given topic, not a condensation on that topic. So this is something with which we can start off, or to start off, we can think like this. Now, again, we can say that the elaboration that we are doing in the essay or the detailed discussion that we are having over there is systematic, of course, we have noted that, and it is analytical. Or in other words, there is an analysis of the topic in the essay. For example, I might have a topic like on dreams. So there will be a discussion of the topic dreams and their significance. So what are dreams? How do the dreams arise? How do people see dreams? What is the significance of dreams? So this is a kind of analytical framework with which we can analyze the topic dreams. Bees, for example. Again, it's a different topic from dreams, but of course it's a factual topic, but again there can be a scheme of analysis or a framework like what are bees, these living creatures, so how do they come into being, what are their habits, what are their living conditions, what sort of products do we get from them, like this. Okay. Again, on the fears of death can be another example of an essay which is an abstract topic, and the discussion points would again be different from that of the first one on dreams or the one on bees. So we have looked at some examples. And you can say that in each case there is an analytical framework or there's a scheme of discussion. Now the topic of the essay, of course, can be anything and everything. So it is very, very inclusive as far as the topic is concerned. It can be something factual like bees, or it can be something totally imaginary like the fears of death or the sense of an afterlife. It can also have a series of reflections or elaborations on a certain topic. It can be an impersonal and objective piece of writing. At the same time, it can be something very closely personal. And if it is so, then the writer's personality will shine through that essay. Now, you may all have heard about the essays of Charles Lamb. Now, Lamb was a personal essayist, and his personality comes out through his essays. or else the essays can be entirely objective. So there can be different forms and types that the essay may take. Now, what are the features in general that the essays exhibit? Let us discuss some of them. First of all, logicality. The structure or sequence of ideas that we have in the essay is a logical and structured sequence. It is nothing disorganized, not a particular argument, nothing is out of place. It's all in its own place and it follows a particular sequence. So it's very, very organized. Also, there is consistency throughout the essay. Consistency of discussion of the subject matter, consistency of thought, style, everything. So the beginning has to lead way to the middle, and the middle has to lead on to the conclusion. And there has to be a consistent strain of argument and a consistent style throughout the essay. So there is evenness spread throughout. It is not uneven in any part, or nothing is at all out of keeping with the rest. Also, it is a coherent piece of writing, clear, vivid, and speaking for itself. It should be understandable. There is a sense of unity in the essay. Again, that is, it is consistent, it is one whole, and all the parts would come into place as a connected whole. And of course, there is a sense of progression, of development in the essay. The idea which I am discussing, this is gradually elaborated, or it is gradually developed in the course of the essay. And this development or this process should be evident to the reader of the essay. And of course, there is a distinctive style of the writer of the essay in the patterning of the sentences, the structure of the sentences that is followed, the way that verbs and adjectives are used. There is a particular style. And of course, for each person, there will be a distinctive style. So the essay is a logical and connected whole, having a unity of its parts. It is coherent. It shows a progressive development of an idea, and it shows a distinctive and marked style. Now, what are the different types of the essay? Now, broadly speaking, there are around 4 types of the essay. These are narrative, descriptive, expository, and persuasive. We can, of course, add the reflective essay to this. Now, the narrative essay, what is it? The narrative essay is, as the name suggests, it is something that tells a story or it recounts something. A descriptive essay puts a picture in your head, or it describes something, a process, a festival, an occurrence, a visit, something like that. An expository essay is basically an informative discussion, or it is an informative disquisition upon something. Let's say a visit to an industrial plant, or it describes the working of that industrial plant. Again, a persuasive essay is a different kind of an essay. It tries to convince the audience about something, or it tries to bring the audience around to a certain point of view. It is, in other words, an argumentative essay. Now, there are some examples that I have given over here. Let us see to which categories they belong. A visit to Tata Medical Center. So it's describing a visit. So is that a descriptive essay? A seaside holiday. Yes, this can be a descriptive essay, very much. It can also be a narrative essay. Lives of slum dwellers. This is clearly expository because it is talking about their lives. So it is information based. Should all students opt for higher education? This is an argumentative essay. It is a persuasive essay. Should we learn a foreign language? Again, this is a persuasive or argumentative essay. So these are the broad general types of the essay. Let us explore them in greater details now. Yes, the narrative essay to begin with. Now, this is a personalized experience which is given in the narrative essay, which needs to be recounted with vividness. Now, the usual way of writing the narrative essay is to begin in the first person. So we use our personal experience, draw on our personal experience, draw on memories, and use sensory experience and imagery or the images of the senses like touch, feeling, smell, sound, hearing, and also try to use dialogue because that adds vividness and liveliness. Of course, if we are talking about real life, like the discussion that goes on in the railway compartment, for example, then obviously we have to use dialogue to give a sense of vividness over there. And try to weave your emotions into the narrative. So these are some pointers to writing a narrative essay. Now I have given an excerpt from a narrative essay. I shall be reading it out to you to illustrate how one writes or begins in the narrative essay. It was one of the coldest nights of the year. The temperature was just below freezing point. We were traveling by the Darjeeling Mail. It was 9 p.m. This was a rather unusual beginning to our short Christmas break. We had never actually visited a hill station in winter. We were terribly excited, warmly wrapped up and carrying all the warm clothes we could find. So you find how it begins in the first person and draws on personal experience of one of the coldest nights of the year and traveling to the hill station of Darjeeling by train in a, uh, in a train on one of the coldest nights of the year during the Christmas break. So the vividness of the experience is conveyed through the images and the feel of the journey, the nighttime journey on the train. So this is an essay from called A Winter Visit to Darjeeling. So that's a narrative essay. Now let us go on and look at another type of essay, the descriptive essay. The descriptive essay is of course personal and it involves little research. As such, it is comparatively easier to write this kind of essay. And it also provides some opportunity for some creative writing. Basically, it focuses on a single event, person, location, or the memory of something. Now, you have to create an essay statement, then elaborate with details, and then draw a conclusion when you are writing the descriptive essay. In any case, if you are able to give a straightforward and lucid description of whatever is the subject of your essay, I think you are on fairly safe ground and you are able to carry on the essay through with success. Now, I'm going to read out from the extract which is given here from a descriptive essay called The Mango Orchard. Who has not seen young boys trying to pluck unripe mangoes from trees in summer? There seems to be an irresistible fascination between young boys and mangoes. We were no exception to this norm in our childhood days. My grandfather had a huge mango orchard with nearly 200 trees. In summer, we had the time of our lives. The mangoes hung golden and ripe in the summer heat. We were overjoyed. Okay, so look at the lucid and interesting beginning. So it begins with a question. Young boys trying to pluck unripe mangoes from trees in the summer. So the irresistible fascination that young boys feel for mangoes and the author's childhood and the mango orchard owned by his grandfather where there were over 200 trees, and the ripened fruit brought a thrill to the minds of the children during the summer. So this is a good beginning for the descriptive essay. It's drawing on memory, location, personal location, and various threads are converging together. So the writing is also very lucid and interesting. So we are prompted to explore further in reading the essay. Now I'm going to describe an expository essay. Now, the expository essay is mainly informative in nature and purpose. It requires one to investigate an idea, to evaluate evidence, and set forth an argument. Now, the methods are comparison and contrast, definition and example, analysis of cause and effect. So there can actually be many different kinds of techniques for writing this essay. So they can be, for example, definition and example, comparison, contrast, analysis of cause and effect, like this. Okay, so I'm going to read out an extract from an expository essay which is entitled The Effect of Working on Night Shifts. Listen, in slums like Dharavi in Mumbai, the day never ends. As soon as the daily wage earners come back home and start their cooking fires, the workers in the factory night shifts get ready their tiffin boxes and start for their workplace, so that they are ready before the siren blows, the summons to another workday for these people. They start work at 10 p.m. and it is past midnight before they can get a break for lunch. They finish their shift at 5 a.m. and in the early morning hours board the suburban trains to go back home. So basically what we get from this essay, it's quite interesting in the way that it highlights the living conditions, the working conditions of the night shift workers. It's very vivid, and it's giving us the images of their working conditions and their daily routine, but it is very factual. So it is basically informative and telling us that people living in these slums are always at work. So either they work in the daytime, and again, when they come back from work, the people who work at night in the night shifts are ready to go and join their night shifts. And again, by the next morning, so they are back by boarding the suburban trains. So again, this is the way in which we write an expository essay, which is mainly informative in nature and scope. Now, the other type of essay which I would like to talk about is the persuasive essay, in which the main object of the writer is to persuade or to convince people with the help of arguments. So it is argumentative in its nature and builds up various logical arguments. Now, first of all, one is, of course, to create an essay statement or contention with which to start, then adduce various arguments as proof and give examples and explanations. Now, the object of the persuasive essay, of course, is to convince the reader to take your point of view. So basically, all argumentative essays are of this type. Now, let's see. I'm going to read out an extract from an essay called Teenagers Should Learn Foreign Languages. Learning a foreign language is like having an extra dimension with which to look at reality. You look at the same world with different eyes. For young teenagers, both boys and girls, learning a foreign language is both an educative and learning experience. In fact, it is an experience that they all need to undergo at some point of time. And what better time than the age of 12 or 13? When the memory is sharp, enthusiasm for learning is high, and energy levels are intensive. So it starts with the contention that learning a foreign language is a valuable asset. And especially for young boys and girls, it is a very much of an educative experience. And further, it goes on to say that for young teenagers, it's the special age at which they are, that it is the fitting time at which to start learning a foreign language, because at that point of time their energy and enthusiasm and ability for learning are at their peak. So it is a good time to start learning a foreign language, which in any case is a challenging enterprise. So this is an example of a persuasive essay. Now, we are going to look at the process of writing the essay before we look at the structure. So of course, since it consists of logical arguments, we have also to proceed in writing the essay in a logical fashion. So we have to go about it step by step. First, we have the topic. So we brainstorm on the topic and we get various ideas that result from this brainstorm. We also use different kinds of mind maps to cluster our ideas together. I shall be talking about the mind maps in a minute. But before that, let me just complete talking about the process of learning. So we use mind maps to do this clustering of ideas. Then we jot down the ideas and points which emerge as a result of this brainstorming. Then we start doing research on the topic or reading on the topic and elaborate the ideas. After that, we write the first draft, then read and revise the first draft, and then write a fair draft. So this is necessarily the process of writing the essay, involving brainstorming on the topic, then writing down a first draft, then revising and making a fair draft. So a good bit of rewriting and revising is involved over here, just like in other types of writing, like report writing. Now, these are some of the mind maps. To the right, what we have, this is called a tree diagram. So there, here we have, this is the central idea. Then out from that, we have various other ideas clustering out. Again, over here, we have an organizer which shows an argument sequence chart. Then to the right, what we have over here at the bottom is a fishbone chart. Again, main idea over here and sub-ideas branching out from that to the bones of the fishbone. Here we have different kinds of organizers. To the left, a Venn diagram over here, then the sequence chart, T-chart, main idea web, it's called also a spider web, and concept map, concepts radiating out one from the other, or branching out from them. So there are various kinds of mind maps. Depending on what is your topic, you can use different types of mind maps to get the ideas properly organized. So basically, it's a question of organizing your ideas. Okay, so suppose we do a kind of topic brainstorming on the argumentative essay topic, which we had looked at a little while ago. That is, teenagers should learn foreign languages. So if I do a brainstorming on this topic, what I come up with is basically certain questions like, what is the utility of learning a foreign language? From that, I might get certain points like opportunities for studying abroad, getting scholarships to foreign universities, to get a career in translation even within India, or to form one of the exchange study program students who can go to other countries as exchange scholars in such programs. Then again, we get a question like, why teenagers especially? Teenagers should learn foreign languages. That's the topic. So why teenagers? So from that, we get various points like they have a sharp memory, they are young in age, so they are enthusiastic, they are eager for learning, and they have better retentivity compared to older learners. So they are at the appropriate age for learning a foreign language. Then again, we get questions like how and why they can learn. So there are special classes or online classes or provision for weekend classes. Whatever is suitable for them, they can avail of those opportunities. Again, there are different interactive methods of learning, so they can opt for interactive methods, which will be ultimately much more fruitful for them, and they will be able to speak better if they use the interactive methods. And there can be a lot of opportunities for students going on student exchange programs with other universities or with foreign universities. So again, knowing a foreign language will be a great advantage as far as this is concerned. Now, how to begin the essay proper? The first thing to keep in mind is to have a certain hook by which to draw the reader in. It's like the reader is like a fish and you are fishing. So you draw the fish in to the net by putting the hook and the bait at the end of the fishing rod when you put that in the water. So you need to have an attention grabbing beginning. You can begin with a quote or a strong question, or you can start with a startling fact or statistic, a metaphor or simile, a description, or a strong statement or declaration. Now, I shall give you some illustrations of all of these. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times by Charles Dickens. Or the truth is really pure and never simple. So these are some quotations, or you can say quotable quotes with which to begin the essay. And they can uh, give an extra edge to the essay if we use it appropriately at the beginning. Again, there are these statements like, learning a foreign language is like opening a window to the known world. So this is a simile which is used over here, and it is very, very expressive. Again, 73 years after independence, 47% of the Indian population still lives in poverty. So this is a startling fact. It's like likely to shock any onlooker by its story, because 47% is a big number. A business blog is like a magnet drawing readers to it. Again, this is a simile which is used over here. This is the story of a business that started with a capital of rupees 80. Today it is a thriving business worth crores of rupees. So this is a business story which is sharing with us a unbelievable statistic almost. That is a popular business which is worth several crores now. That started off in a small way with a home business with a capital of around rupees 80. Again, another opening. The landscape was streaked with vivid greens. It was a natural forest environment recreated in the garden. Again, another one. And can we or can we not talk about films as agents of realism? Again, this is a the argumentative point, or it is a strong statement or declaration. So we have looked at the various kinds of beginnings we can have in the essay. Okay. Then, of course, after we have looked at the essay statement, then we state the central point or the contention or the argument of the essay and mark a clear beginning. For example, the statement of the essay on teenagers should learn foreign languages runs something like this. It is evident that teenagers, both boys and girls, are in the ideal stage to learn foreign languages. So this is the central contention of the writer in this particular essay. Again, the outline sketch that was developed was foreign languages are French, Spanish, and German. The usefulness of learning them, opportunities for learning, what opportunities exist, why teenagers, how can teenagers learn, how can they make use of the opportunities, and lifelong learning goals. Okay, so this is the whole outline of the essay. Now, how are the ideas going to be developed in the course of the essay? So first and foremost, what are foreign languages? Why should we learn foreign languages? And teenagers should learn them, but why? Then once we have given these ideas at the beginning, then we develop these ideas in the course of the body of the essay. Like, why teenagers in particular? And why both boys and girls? Is there any specific reason why we should have them both learning the foreign languages? Again, how to learn or the ways of learning and the usefulness of knowing these foreign languages. And then we draw the conclusion where we talk about the ideal stage for learning and making use of opportunities. Okay. So as you can see on the right, I have got an example about the parts of a traditional essay which go like an introductory paragraph with the thesis statement, then body paragraphs, or at least three, with the topic sentences, supporting details and transitions between paragraphs, and the concluding paragraph. So we have looked at the development of ideas basically. Then we have the topic and supporting details, like for example, why should teenagers learn? This is one point in the essay. So there are various supporting details for this contention. They are at an impressionable age where they will recollect more if they learn at this stage. They have fresh minds, so they will come with fresh and eager minds to learn. They have a sharp memory and they have fairly good attention span, okay, and longer retentivity. So these are some basic reasons why the supporting details are there. So we have the paragraph development, the topic sentence giving the main idea, supporting sentences supporting the topic sentence, and concluding sentences summing up the paragraph and telling the reader that the discussion is completed. So we have that. Now we will go to the conclusion of the essay and look at how to conclude. So we have to restate the thesis statement at the ending of the essay, review the supporting ideas, and then summarize, connect back to the opening hook, and relate the closing statement to the opening one. So basically, the end involves a summary and relating the closing statement to the opening one. So in this way, the essay is concluded. So we have looked at how the essay is written and how it is carried on and how it is concluded. So I hope that in the course of your academic writing, you will be able to attempt essays of different kinds, and you will be able to write essays as your tutorials or your term assignments, in which you will have to discuss various points and issues relating to your fields of study. So the writing of the essay is a necessary part of learning to write longer extracts, and it is also an important exercise in learning to express oneself with clarity, with coherence, and with producing something which has got a sense of unity and logicality and consistency. So an essay is an extended piece of writing which gives us the information that is required in order to understand the viewpoints of the author about a certain topic, and it also gives us the details of the examples in working out this topic. So I hope I've been able to give you pointers to writing the essay, and I hope that you will write excellent essays in the course of your academic career over here. This brings us to the end of this discussion. So I would like to end this discussion over here.